we talked about confidence intervals. Our big question was exactly what we just said. So if we have a confidence interval, we can interpret the result to be we're 95% confident that the given interval captures our true population mean for our Razorback store customer purchases during our promotional period. We can go into ISYS. We click the extra little button that says confidence intervals on our summary statistics. Life is good. Questions, comments? Okay. We learned that if we want to be more confident, what happens to our interval? Does it get bigger or smaller?
It's wider.
It's wider, it's bigger. Okay, so the more confident we are, the larger our confidence limit, the larger our confidence interval. One thing we didn't go over in class, and you do have a question about, what do we know about our customers using coupons, especially in regard to their marital status? Okay, so marital status is what I want to do. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm actually going to calculate a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of married customers using our coupons, i.e. our promotional customers. Okay. So, going into Enterprise Guide, there are two data sets you can choose to do this. So if you go and open your data, or you can just follow along, you don't have to do this. Data. Okay. Couple of fun things. Got a lot of emails. In your 5503 shared data sets, there's a bunch of junk. And I'm trying to clean it out and figure out what all it is. Everybody who's taught this class for the last 5 years has used this folder, and I don't know what everything is. At the very top, there is an assignments folder. Everybody see the assignments folder? This is where the data for your assignments lives. Okay. That's one thing. The other thing, I got 3 probably emails about, okay, I'm here, I'm looking at the assignments, and there's nothing here. Make sure that when you want to open data, you open the data and not the project. If you try to open a project, you're not going to see any data. Okay? Common things that happen all the time, don't worry about them, but those are some of the troubleshooting things that at some point in the semester you will run into. Okay, thanks. So, Razorback stores, however, I do have out here in this mess. And so, Razorback stores dirty. You guys save that in your own folder. You can use that data set. Or I have this Razorback stores and it says TH1. This is what I use for my Thursday night session with my Saturday class. This is basically the last of that dirty data set. So this is like as clean as I got it. So either one of those will be totally fine to use for this example. So here's our data set. We've made all the changes. It's nice and clean. We've added on some different days and age ranges and all that good stuff. But all we're interested in is just, of our promotional customers, what proportion are married. So, step number 1, what do I need to do?
Describe.
You're like, hey, I'm looking at your slides. It says to filter. Yes. So if we're looking at promotional customers, and if they're married or not, I will get a different result if I filter versus if I don't filter. Right? So if I don't filter, I'm looking at all of my customers, and the percent married and the percent not. But if I just want to know about the customers using the coupon, those are my promotional customers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to filter and sort. I'm going to make sure I take all the variables over with me. I'm going to filter. I'm going to filter by new type of customer. I'm using a new variable because that's the one I cleaned up. And again, you can follow along, but for this point you can just kind of watch. I'm going to say equal to, and this is promotional. I'm going to click OK. And so now instead of having 1,000 people, now I only have 690 people. So smaller sample size. So now the question is, I'm going to put a 95% confidence interval around the proportion of married people. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to describe, and I'm going to do a frequency. Am I talking about a continuous variable or a categorical variable?
Categorical.
Categorical. So I'm doing categorical, I'm looking at frequencies. So one-way frequency. I'm interested in marital status. And I didn't do anything new to marital status, so I can actually just use the original one. And I'm going to go to statistics. And I'm going to click asymptotic test. So underneath the binomial proportions, and I wish I could make this bigger. You're going to click asymptotic test. And then it says test proportion. We're not going to worry about this piece right here. But it says the confidence level. Okay, so if I want a 95% confidence level, I'm good. If I want to change that to whatever confidence level I want, I can. And then we're going to run this. So if I have a continuous variable that I'm trying to do the confidence interval of, I use my summary statistics. If I have a categorical variable I want a confidence interval of, I use my one-way frequency. And so we're provided, this part I can make it, I think. Or not. So here I have confidence interval from 76% to 82%. You will notice, yes.
So isn't the top one based off of the 0.5 assumption? And the bottom one's based off of the actual proportion? Or am I doing that backwards? Because that's how it's calculating the margin of error, right?
Yes. So the top one is based off of. So the top one. So like if you use the calculation in your book, you're going to get the top answer.
Right.
And if you use 0, you're going to get the bottom answer. So for me, not that we are doing hand calculations, but I'm fine with using. Honestly, either one's going to get you the right answer for me. The exact is going to be using the sample. So in this case, it's going to be assuming the 0. And we'll talk about that more when we get into the hypothesis test from there, and that'll make even more sense. But for right now, if you actually tried to calculate this using what's in the book, the top answer is what you would get. Yes?
Can you repeat the question that we were specifically looking for when calculating this?
So we are interested in a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of married customers who use the coupons.
Okay. So then we filter it by the promotional, and then we look for the
Married.
Okay.
Right. So we're not. Oh, so let's ask that question. Did I do it right?
Did you?
Oh, I don't know. Did I? Nobody stopped me. I assumed I did it right. I think I did it right.
You don't know anything, so.
We don't know anything. We're just going to trust you and whatever you said. So this is where she brings up a good point, right? So calculate a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of married customers. If I just stopped it right there, if I stopped it right there, then my 95% confidence interval is about the proportion of married customers. Then it says using the coupons. So I filtered by using the coupons. Right? But if I would have switched that around, right, calculate the 95% confidence interval for those using the coupons that are married, then what would I filter on?
Married.
Then I filter on married, and the promotional customers would be what I'd be looking for the proportion of. Okay, so it's just reading the question and having fun. But so up here in our business question, so of those that are using coupons, so of those that are promotional, then what do we know about their marital status?
Okay, but just for number 3 though, like, do I have to filter it twice? That's my thing.
So what is number 3?
So it's like the proportion of people that have broadband access, so I'll filter it for broadband access, but also have children. So do I need to filter it for only people that have children as
I think those
well?
are two
They're two separate questions.
Okay, okay, cool.
There goes my night.
Okay, cool.
No. Yeah, they're going to be two separate questions. Okay, good. I'm glad we're going on. Yes.
See, again, it just gives the proportion of whatever the first item.
Yeah.
See, our case, so we
I
didn't
did
do it
see
because
the
we just had to reverse the direction of something. But I was reading the tutorial about changing it to the code. Maybe we can just.
That's where I'm headed next. So, right now, the marital status is married, right? But what if I wanted to know about it for singles? Right? So instead of the question for married, it was singles. Married is just what's going to come up. That's SAS's default. Okay, SAS's default is just going to do it in alphabetical order. Okay? So if we're looking at proportions, married comes before single in the alphabet, so you're going to get married. But I'm interested in single. Okay? So there's a couple different ways we could do it. We can go back to modify our task. And when we modify our task, if you go to the results section, down at the bottom it says order output data by. And you have options of data set order, formatted values, descending frequencies, and then the unformatted values. Okay? So if we went back and looked at our data, real quick. If we go back and look at our data, marital status is the first thing that's here. Right? So if I were to sort this data, so again, I still want all the data. I'm going to sort the data, and here I'm going to sort it by marital status. And instead of ascending, I want it to be descending. Okay? So instead of alphabetical order, I want it to be in reverse alphabetical order. Okay, so I'm just sorting a column, sorting my data set by a given column. We'll click OK. And now I have the singles on top. That's the first thing in my data set. So now, if I modify my curve, well, since we sorted, we have to do this again. So now if I describe, and I go to my one-way frequency, I'm still talking about marital status. And I want my asymptotic test, so I can do my 95% confidence interval. And I go to the results, and now I'm going to change this order output data by to data set order. And I'm going to run it. And now I have the proportion for where marital status is single.
So in the PowerPoint, you just changed the code.
I'm
Is
going to do
that
that next.
okay?
Yeah, we're totally there.
Okay.
So this is one way to do it. And this works if I have married and single. But what happens if I have
It's complicated.
married, single, divorced, widowed? How can I sort my data so that, so we go divorced, if I did it alphabetically, married, single, widowed. So I can get divorced and widowed, but how could I sort alphabetically to get married or single? Right, and I can't. So your other option is to go change the code a little bit. Okay, so right here where we are, I'm actually going to go back to my married status. Okay, so I'm going to change it from married to single. So up at the top, so you'll see your one-way frequencies, and you see input data, code, log, and results. This is where I would go to change the code. So that preview code, wherever it said that in some of the tutorials, skip that. Just go up here to the top and change the code. And anytime you want to change the code, as soon as you start to type, It's going to say this code is read-only. You can't mess with it. Do you want to create a copy of this that you can mess with? Okay, so we'll say yes. And then it comes down here, and now we have a program. So what this program is doing is the green stuff is just kind of text telling you, their notes telling you what's happening. This proc SQL statement, this proc SQL statement, if you don't already know how to learn it or how to read it, in the next 3 days, the next 3 weeks, you will most likely know what all of this means. So this is getting our data. These are just some titles and footnotes, no big deal. This is the part of interest. So when you click describe the one-ray frequency, what that's doing is that's telling SAS to run its proc freq. I know, it's a weird way to say it, but proc freq, FREQ. It's saying the data that we're going to use is this work data set that we got from up here. The order is internal. Okay, so that's that unformatted thing that we did. Tables is the code word that it uses. And it's saying which variable do you want? Well, we want marital status. We're doing backslash, and the first kind of option that we have is binomial. Okay. Because when we were clicking through again, we had a binomial heading, right? So binomial is our option. P of 0.5. And so that's where if we were doing a statistical test later, this is where we're setting we can make this proportion equal to 0, the proportion equal to, this is 50%, the proportion equal to 75%. This is where we can change that. Our alpha level is 0.05, right? So we're doing a 95% confidence, which means we have an alpha level of 0.05. A 99% confidence, we would have an alpha level of 0.01. Okay, so you can mess with all of this stuff that you want to and change things. The thing that we're going to add is we want the proportion, we're just going to leave it the same for now, for the confidence interval. And we're going to add the keyword level, L-E-V-E-L. And this is going to say what level of the marital status do you want? Or if it equals. And then we're going to, in quotation marks, because it's a categorical variable, type the word single. Single must be capitalized. Okay? It has to look exactly the same way that it does in the data set. So if in the data set it's all capital letters, you have to make all capital letters. If the data set has all small letters, lowercase letters, you have to type in all lowercase. Make sense? So if for some reason it doesn't work, that's probably one of these reasons. And then to make stuff happen, you click run, and that's SAS code that says, hey, do what I just asked you to do.
So if you were talking about the example like you brought before, if it was like married, single, widow, divorced, if you did this, would it be comparing the level single to the other three? Like
So it would just be the proportion of singles.
of that in comparison to the, okay.
Yeah, so just proportion of singles compared to
With
everything.
everything else.
Alright, so now up here at the top, there's a little green arrow that says run. When we click that, SAS does its own thing, and we get the single result. Yay! Questions, comments? Is that easier than some of you guys made it? Sorry. So the other, I'm not saying the other way didn't work.
No,
It totally
it
works.
still gets the same.
Yeah, you're still going to get the same answer. This just makes it a little
Yeah,
faster. Yeah. Yes.
So this could be a stupid question, but I'm not able to understand what the P is equal to 0.5 means.
It will make so much more sense when we actually need it. Right now, when we're doing confidence intervals, it doesn't matter. In the afternoon or here in 30 minutes, it'll make sense. All right. If no other questions, let's move on. All right. And so here is a snapshot of what I just did. So where we are today, we're moving into Module 3, which is Business Analytics, digging deeper to help make decisions. So today we're going to start off with, what's your hypothesis? We're going to go into hypothesis testing. So how many of you have done hypothesis testing before? You've done a t-test, you've done an ANOVA. I got a lot of nods. All right.